Well, we just got ourselves organized here. We'll wait for a few minutes before we actually start anything, but I know I'm a minute early or a couple of minutes early, but we'll see how things go here. Everything here looks to be behaving. I guess we'll find out shortly. Where are we? Hello, Gwen Potter. How are you today? How's the audio? Is the audio okay? I know you're going to hear a train in the background. That's because there's one sitting almost behind the microphone. But I moved the microphone, in front of me rather than off to the side. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll just give it a couple of minutes here before I actually get started. I know you're not going to be hanging around very long, so that's fine. Not a big deal. Could I turn the train sound up a bit now? Well, it's in the background, so it's going to be, this particular setup will be moving off the tracks once things get started here. I'm hoping to talk about the projects I've been working on this week. But I think we'll have to wait and see. I got a bad wire here on this project, though. I have to fix it. Mind you, it's all temporary anyway, so it's not that crucial. I mean, you saw some of the stuff I was working on this morning. I'm hoping to build a little street sign, a highway sign, or road sign, as it were, which will be over top of the roadway. Don't know if you'll actually be able to see it here or not. No, you won't there. So I'll have to move it a bit closer. Come on, get down. There we go. That's where we want it. So yeah, it's gonna display random messages. The top one will always remain the same. It says stay alert. And the second and third line are set for, I think I've got it set for 20 seconds and 40 seconds each, and they'll just randomly change to a different message on the roadway. So see if I like it as white. I've got, might have to order in some yellow acetate to make them into a kind of an ambery or yellowy sign, more like what you see on the 401 here in Ontario, but we'll wait and see what happens there. But it's been a fun little project. Between that and the block detection unit, that I'm still experimenting with that one. Not 100% happy with. Well, I'm happy with how it's performing, but it's still not doing exactly what I want it to do. Because when a train enters a block and it shows occupied, I want it to stay latched in that occupied state until it reaches the exit sensor. And it's doing what I want it to do except the latching part. So I have to have a sensor detecting a train at all times. So if I've got a train and it's moved into the block, just let's say a locomotive, and it's past the first sensor, the first sensor tells anything behind that train that the current block that you're coming up to is occupied with a red light. And that's cool. But if I stop that train in that block and it's past the entry sensor and hasn't cleared the exit sensor yet, that block is still occupied. But the way the software is running right now, it latches out of that occupied state back to a green state, which is not what I want. I'm trying to convince the software that it needs to stay latched as soon as it gets triggered and stay that way until it sees the entire train exit the exit sensor, if that makes any sense. Anyway, something to work on this coming week. We'll see how all that goes. We've got a decent little switch list for today. So we've got 8 moves to do, actually 7, looks like 1 car won't be going anywhere. So what we're going to do, yeah, there will be a major crash if I don't get it fixed, you're right. So I'm going to move the Blue Devil and the CN out of the way here. So we're going to get them ramped up and get them moving. And then we'll get our switching session started. And while it's doing that, I'm going to wet my whistle. Yeah, so I'll just let the Blue Devil head off into the west. And then we'll fire up our switcher and get things going here. The camera views look okay there, Gwenny? All right, well.
39.3, no defects.
Well, that's good.
Total, Exo. 2.8, length of train. 4.6.6, train speed. 2.2.
All right, let's get this little
7.2 degrees. Engine transmission.
switcher fired up. And we've got a few moves we've got to make. Looks like the first 3 are all tank cars that are sitting up at the Angels Cold Storage Facility. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all 3 of them. And we've got to move the short tank to the central maintenance. So we're going to have to push it around, or pull it out and switch things around here a bit, which is fine. And the other 2 tanks are going, one's going to east maintenance. This will add some excitement. And then the 911 tank car is going from cold storage to the outbound tracks. So let's see how we're going to do this. We'll get our switches set. I'm going to have to get myself a pointing stick or something. But right now, I can tell you that it's these 3 tank cars that we're going to be moving. And they're going to be going, the little white car, little white tank car here is going to be going to central maintenance, which is way over on our central camera, over by the silos over here. And 911, which is the middle car, he's going to be going to our outbound track, and 915 is going from this location over to east maintenance. Sorry, east maintenance is here, which is where the switcher is currently sitting. And We've got a car sitting in front of or behind East Maintenance, which looks like we're going to have to move. Yeah, he's going to Central. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll take a little bit of maneuvering to get this done, but hey, we'll get it. So, pitter patter. Feels like it's gotten colder outside today. Far cry from the last couple of days we've had with rain and plus 10 degrees, which is very unusual for this time of year for us. But Mother Nature isn't done with us yet, that's for sure. Our cold period is coming up. It's going to be in February. Well, at least that tends to be the month that we are cold, or coldest, and seem to get a fair amount of snow. Oops. Just knocked over the transport truck trailer. That's not good. So we've got the stick of God here today. We may have to use that. We'll have to wait and see. We'll use it to hold cars in place, I think. Make sure they're coupled up to the locomotive. And sometime this week I've got to get back to painting people. I've got still probably about 6 to 8 3D printed people that I have to paint up. I think we got those guys. We're about to find out. No, I don't have them. Ha! Here I was worried about the little one at the back being hooked into the other two and didn't really pay that much of attention to the front cars. The stick of God's gonna come into play here. Got it. All right. Let's see how this is all gonna play out. So that little tiny white tank car, I thought was going to be our first move, but he may not be our first move at this stage. Try and plan this out ahead of time if I can when I get the switching sheet. In my head things work out just great, but on paper when I finally decide to go with them, that's not one of your knitting needles. That's a skewer. As you can see now, plainly see. But good try. I mean, you can try knitting with one if you really want. Don't think it'll go well. So what I'm going to do, my game plan, again, this works well in my head. Don't know if it's actually going to work. Come on. There we go. Is we're going to grab this covered hopper that's sitting in the East Engine Maintenance Building. We're going to grab him because we need him at some point anyway. And he's just going to be in the way. Well, the little white tank car is going to be in the way if we drop the tank car off first. So we're going to grab that guy, pull him out, So yeah, I'm gonna have to, sometime this week, I'm gonna have to head up to Hobby and Toy Central and pick up some styrene so I can build a frame, a highway frame for that sign. And then figure out where I'm going to mount it. It's going to, obviously it'll have to go on the front of the layout here somewhere. The ultimate question is just where. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this, well, we got to do a runaround on this anyway, so we're going to bring the whole works out, and we're going to put it on the inner track here. Well, knocking it is par for the course on this railroad. I always hit something. But you're right, it has to go somewhere that's normally I wouldn't have access to it. But I will find a way to hit it regardless. I think what I'm going to do, what I'll do with it, is I've got some brass rod here. And probably make 2 stanchions to mount the framework of the sign on either side of the highway. And probably one side of it's going to have to extend over the layout, the front of the layout, just a bit, but that shouldn't really be a problem. That'll give me some rigidity and not have to worry too much if I do hit it that I'm not going to break the legs that are holding it. Again, that's the game plan. Best laid plans. So who has to go where again? Okay, so we got 911, which is the second car, second tank car, which would be this guy here, for those paying attention. 911 is going to be going to our outbound track, and this covered hopper that we just pulled out he's going to central maintenance, and the tank car is going to central maintenance, so that's good. But to get to central maintenance, we've got another covered hopper sitting at the grain silos. Oh, you shouldn't have much scraping of the car. Anyway, take care, drive carefully. We'll talk to you when you get home. Have a fun session. Too big of a stick for that. Where is my little toothpick? There she is. Come on, you know you want to let go. Or not? Those clunky Bachmann couplers. Okay, so we've got that. Where are we at here? So little tank car is going to central maintenance, and the 070. Ooh, I misread that. Did I? No. No, I didn't. Well, let's get these guys moving. No time like the present. Yeah. I got to figure out how to get you guys, you subscribers, to know that I'm streaming. Now, it's going to be every Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have to get out to more of your YouTube channels when you're streaming and remind everybody. It's slightly disheartening, and I don't want to give up on streaming. I'm enjoying doing it. I mean, I'd stream regardless of whether you guys were here or not. Well, I'd be doing switching anyway. Maybe not streaming. Hate this time of year. No, it gets runny. Okay, we're hooked up. What we're gonna do, I think, is I'm going to drop these two black tank cars off here. Maybe? Yeah, because this guy here, 911, has got to go to the outbound track. So I think what we'll do is we're going to drop him here. Come on. Let go. There we go. And the other guy, 915, which is this guy here, is going to East Maintenance. So that's this building here. So that's an easy drop. We can do that right now while we sort the rest out. Do. Ba-da-da-do. Yeah, I see a lot of you, you other guys out there have got tons of viewers when you're doing your streams and hundreds and thousands of subscribers. Not that that's all important to me, because it doesn't bother me all that much. But it would be nice just to have people viewing while I'm doing these sessions, and then have a little chit chat afterwards. All right, what are we doing here? So a little white tank car's got to go to central maintenance, but what we're going to have to do is yank that covered hopper that's sitting in front of the silo out of the way so we can get him in. Make sure all our switches are where they need to be. Horn and bell for safety. So the plan's going to be, I'm going to drag these two cars back. We're going to get them into the siding where the silo is, which is over here. We're going to latch onto this covered hopper. We're going to drag him back, but we're going to put him in the welding siding, building siding for the time being. We'll uncouple him from there, take the two cars back, get the tank car in where he belongs. And we need to find out where that covered hopper's going, I guess. Where are you going? Oh, he's going outbound, so that's good. So it's not going to be all terrible. Yes. It was a busy week of doing projects this week, though. That little highway sign. Now that I know it works and I've got it working the way I want, I'll build the frame for it, get that mounted. I made an Arduino railway crossing or level crossing set of lights, wigwags. I've got the actual hardware for those, the lights and the whatnot that I need for that already, because they came off of my old layout, or my old switching layout. And yeah, and instead of using what I normally use for building projects like that, which is usually infrared emitter detectors, I went with something slightly different this time. I went with time of flight sensors, and they're not going to be as susceptible to erroneous light conditions, false triggering, etc. So that should be good. And I mentioned earlier about my block detection unit, and I'll give you a view of the mock-up in a bit that I've built. And it's what spurred me on to wanting to build that was our club. Oops, our club has got both N-scale and HO layouts, and some of the layout is underneath other portions of track, so it's hidden away in a roundabout way that you can't readily see. So if we have an uncoupling incident underneath there, we wouldn't know about it. And the guys were wondering if there was a way of getting block detection. And one of the guys had experimented with doing it. And his idea wasn't bad. Hang on, I'm going to be right back. What did we lose? Oh no. Oh no. We've lost our tracking camera. Did it come back? No, it has not. So, bear with me while I fix my mess up here. Let me get this one thing at a time, Russ. Make sure the other cameras. Oh, we've lost them. Oh, no, we haven't. That guy's still alive. That guy's still alive. One way down there still alive. So far, so good. I just got to get that the me camera back online somehow. Well, it's there. Well, it's there so far. No, then it goes to sleep. Oh, me, oh my. Can I deactivate you and then reactivate you? Oh, it moved. That's always a good sign. Aha! Sorry to scare everybody like that. Now all we've got to do is bring everything else back online again. Ooh, this is not fun. There we go. I think. Everybody's happy? Kinda, sorta. All right. Bear with me, folks. The stick of God's got to come through. All right. Oh, where were we here? You to there, you to there. Stop you there. Oop, sorry about that. Hit the tablet. We got any moves actually done here? I feel like I've been doing this forever. And we kind of have, haven't we? Been on the go for 33 minutes. And we've made one move. Well, two now. Cheat, gotta use my fingers. Sadly, that those Bachman couplers again. Yeah, I know. There we go. And we're back. All right, that move's done. That was supposed to be move number 1. Feels like so long ago. Kind of was, I guess, wasn't it? Tank car 915, we got that one moved. All right, that covered hopper is going to well, he could have stayed right where he was. Silly wabbit. So let's move him back because he's staying at central maintenance with that little pain in the patootie tank car. I think this week I'm going to be going through the layout as well and getting my little portable vacuum out and vacuuming up any of the loose foliage that I see kicking around. Last week I had an issue with a piece of the green foam getting caught up in my gears on one of my switchers, and couldn't, well, not immediately, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't moving, why it was making an awful sound that I could hear anyway. And lo and behold, underneath in the gears on the front truck, there's a little piece of green foliage. So I'm going to have to go through and just make sure the track doesn't have any loose foliage on it. All right, that move's done. He's out of the way. Somebody, that green car's sitting at the welding shop. Where have you got to go since we're sitting here? You're moving to cold storage. So we've got to grab you, do a runaround on you. But we got to grab that other covered hopper that I grabbed a hold of, that we stowed. Because he's going to the the outbound tracks. So we got to drag him out anyway, so we may as well drag them both. And I was working on a new welding simulator for the layout. I do have one that I use currently sitting at the engine shop, which is where we're sitting right now. It's a nice little simulator. I like it. But on my previous layout, what I had was the same circuit but I had it triggered upon entry of a car into the welding shop. I didn't think I needed it this time, but it was nice to have it auto trigger. So I worked on a new circuit to get that to happen again. I figured while I was at it, I'd build a new welding circuit. And I've got it mocked up right now. It's just, this was my last night test using a time of flight, again, going back to a time of flight sensor, 3 LEDs. We've got a yellow, a blue, and a white, and they flash independently at different rates for each one. And then a small Arduino Nano is what I'm using as the controller circuit for it. So I just got to pretty all this up. I use these fly wires for doing all my breadboarding. It just makes life a whole lot simpler when you're testing out circuits. Okay, so this guy was going from the welding shop to the outbound, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no, he's going to cold storage. So that little brown guy here, we're going to have to get him spun around and pick him up on the back end. So let's keep backing up. Yeah, I like building little circuits and as a hobby, and like incorporating what I built into the layout if I can. Some of the stuff I can 3D print myself. I do have a resin printer, but it's the design work of the hardware. Like when I say hardware in this case, I'm talking about the scenery portion of things. So, as I say, for that highway sign, it would probably take a couple of iterations of me playing with the CAD software to get it right. And I think just working with styrene and cutting it, because it's going to be a one-off, is probably easier than playing with all the circuitry separate. Oops. Let's do this. I think we're going to park you here for the time being, because you got to go to the outbound tracks anyway. And that other car has got to go. Where have you got to go? Okay. So we're going to push this tank car back a bit to begin with. He's going, that tank car still has to go to our outbound track, but we do have this gray. Well, you know what? Think about this for a second, Russ. Everybody here has got to go to the outbound track, so why don't we do this? Go forward. Go forward, young man, go forward. Take that tank car with you. Yeah, switch over our double crossover in our central area. Get him where he needs to be. Stop our switcher where he's sitting at. Drop off that tank car. Go forward. Get this crossover set. Run him back.
Milestone 3, 9, 3, no defect. Total, axle. 2, length of train. 5, train speed. 1. Temperature 7, 3 degrees. Engine transition.
That it was another project from 2 years ago almost, making the defect detector. That was I can't remember the fellow's first name. I know his last name was Bodner. That was his project back in the day. Never got sorted out or updated, I guess is probably a better way to say it. And myself and another model railroader on the DCCEX Discord site, we worked on it together and got it functioning relatively well, I think. I figured out, I now understand I'm not a programmer. Never have I claimed to be. I can fudge my way through stuff and break it quite easily. And I did manage to sort some of the things out on my own, which was kind of cool. And added some new wave files to it that were more appropriate for what I run, not CSX, although the CSX stuff is still there. And yeah, it's working quite nicely, to be honest. So what we're going to do with these 3 cars, we've got 2 covered hoppers and 1 tank car. They are all going to our outbound tracks. So what we're going to do is we're going to move them now. So I will be ducking out of camera view momentarily so I can do the uncoupling out on the outbound track area, or staging yard, or whatever you want to call it. For me, it's just a 4-foot wing of track. Because doing switching, I need somewhere to put cars. Once I've got them ready to go. Because the way I've got the spreadsheet set up, I've got inbound and outbound track. And based on just my switching layout itself, there is no inbound and outbound track. So that's what the 4-foot section is that I'm running. Hang on for a sec, I'll be right back. We do have to play a little game here of switching around. Sort of. I got 1 car down there that's got to come back in. He's got to go to the cement factory. So we're going to do a little shuffle at the far end that you're not going to see. But it will be legit. I'm actually taking the cars onto a siding. And I'll drop them off there, and I'll pick up the covered hopper that's got to go to the cement factory. I'll be right back again. So yeah, on that defect detector, what I'm using on that one for tracking of the cars and or the axles in that case. Because I've got to be more accurate, I'm actually using lasers down there and two lasers and 2 laser detectors. Be right back. I got to make a switch. Yeah, 2 lasers and 2 laser detectors that are set low enough that the beams just cross the tops of the track. So you're going to hear in a probably about 15 seconds, the defect detector go off again while I couple up onto the covered hopper. Hang on, be right back. Entertain yourselves.
Milepost 39.3, no defects. Total, axle. 4, length of train. 3, 2, train speed. 1, 0.
So those
Temperature 7, 3 degrees. End of transmission.
So those are the actual recordings from the real defect detectors. And what the software and the hardware do is they it'll randomize, and you can set it because it's got a screen on it and some push buttons, and you can set up the percentage and what the mile marker is and a few other parameters through it, and then let it run. And as the train crosses, it knows which way, whether it's going east or west, and it counts the axles, and it gets it right so long as you don't have a piece of equipment that sits too low. And these new Procore covered hoppers are kind of one of those things that they really do sit low on the tracks. So I may end up having to put some shims under them just to bring up the body a bit on these things, because they do sit I love them to death, but they sit very, very low on the rails here. Now, what am I doing here? This covered hopper is oh yeah, he was going to cement. So I went a lot farther than I needed to. And yes, I know I've got to get these switches, the turnout set one of these days. That's another project. Get them wired. But you don't want to rush into these things, obviously. Got to have some projects to continue working on. Otherwise it gets too boring. And yes, today I'm running the layout on, if I can get it in the shot here, on my tablet. So I mentioned before I run DCCEX and their command station, actually their latest hardware command station, and run everything off my Android tablet. And if I'm not running it on the Android tablet, I'm running it on, like today theoretically I should have been running all this on the handheld controller, which is this guy. And it just makes things a little more fun because it's got some built-in features in it that are a lot more realistic. So that's done. Now we're on a roll. We're doing better now, I'll tell you. And to be quite honest with you, that's now completed all our moves. Woohoo! Well, that took longer than I thought it would, to be 100% honest. What we're going to do is we're going to park our little switcher here. Well, not here, not where it's sitting. We're going to take him into the siding. We're just going to move him up here and stop him right about there. And we'll do a shutdown on this little guy. Well, that wasn't a shutdown, that was a mute. But same. I don't, you get impatient waiting for them to finally spool down and everything. One thing I've learned, I couldn't figure it out at first, is why these guys mute. But if they're not finished their run sequence of whatever it is, you do what you think is a shutdown, it'll actually go into mute. So you got to give them probably 15 seconds once you've stopped them, so that all of the sound and functions within the locomotive itself have time to spool down. Then you can actually turn around and do your shutdown sequence on them. So the purpose of why we've stopped at this stage is this is my test setup for my block detection. And you can see the time of flight sensors. There's one here, and here. So entry and exit, time of flight sensors. Now in N scale, this is not set up for any particular length of block. Those are way too short, to be honest. 15 inches in N scale would be 200 feet. So you can figure out from there how you want to do your blocks. But as a test, if we're starting at this end, we have a train come in. Our sensing light goes to red, which is what it should do. And then it hits the exit time of flight sensor, still holds the red. The next block is green for us to proceed in. So we cross that next sensor to the next block. And now our first block has gone yellow. So any train coming in is being told that the block after this one is occupied. So we go through the second block and we hit its exit sensor with our last car. And it still holds the caution on the first block and our red on the second block. And as we pull into the third block, our first block goes back to green. Our second block is now yellow. And our third block is now red. And as we proceed to the exit sensor, it holds all the colors that we need as far as the block detection is concerned. And as we exit our third block, as you can see, we are now green across the board, which is what it should be. Now, the obvious question is, does it work in reverse? Well, think about it now. It won't really work in reverse the way you think it will, because ideally, the system is designed to be on one set of tracks. And what you would need is you'd need another setup similar to this on the opposite side to detect the train in the opposite direction. But to answer the question, yes, it does function. So let's say we were backing our train up. What's going to happen? We're going to get a red here, which makes sense. What doesn't necessarily make sense is the fact we've got a yellow now on our second block. The reason that turned red is my finger went over the sensor. We go to our second block, and our first block says it's clear to pull into the first block, which is correct, and not to pull into the second block. And our third block is on caution. But what it's doing is it's running in the opposite sequence that we went in on, which is correct if you think about it in logical terms. If all the blocks are blocked, we get red across the board. So I've got my fingers over the entrance and exit. Exit of block 1, entrance of block 2, and entrance to block 3. So functioning the way it should, but what I needed to do is I needed to, as a train enters any of these blocks, I want it to latch the red, or whatever the color is, to latch it and not unlatch it like it's just done until the train clears the exit sensor. I haven't quite been able to figure that one out yet. I know it can be done. It's just gonna take some time. I mean, it's not a bad project for just over a week's work so far. I've refined a couple of things on it, and it's cool. Nice thing about the time of flight sensors, if I can do this right, without disturbing it too much. So I've got a sensor that's sitting right here, which is my exit of block 3. You saw me holding my fingers over the sensor. Well, the distance on these things is actually about 8 centimeters. Or sorry, 8 millimeters. No, 85 millimeters, that's what it is. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be right up against the train the way you saw it. In fact, I can adjust its sensitivity within the software. So yeah, fun little project. I do want to get it functioning the way my head says it should work. Like I said, though, I'm not a programmer, so I got to fudge my way through this slightly with the aid of some other software to get it done. Where'd the... Oh, yes. We can kind of show you the welder here, I think. So this is just a cheeky little program, that's all. So it's using the same time of flight sensor, which is right here. And if I put my hand in front of it, the welder should start doing its welding sequence. Not sure how well you can see, but all 3 LEDs are actually blinking at different rates. They all come on at the same time, but they blink at a different rate. If I take my hand away, the welding stops. Now I do have a trigger pin on this Arduino that is set up to trigger my sounds on the player that I use. And that shouldn't be a problem to interface because I've already got that portion done and working currently in the welding shop. So this will just be an upgrade to the welding shop itself. So yeah, we've got that. We've got the my highway sign, which I'm excited about. Excited in a sense that, it's just something different to the layout. So yeah, so when it comes up, it comes up. I don't know how well you'll be able to read these, but man, focus is not going to be great on this, is it? But yeah, the idea is that come on, find it, there we are. I've got scrolling text on the bottom. I've got stationary text on the top. Get up there. Come on, go up. So the top is constant. That never changes. The middle one does change every 30 seconds, I believe I have it set for. And the bottom one changes every 40, I think. I can control that anyway. And it's a different set of parameters. So there's, don't drink and drive. There's have a nice day. The scrolling one right now is slow traffic ahead. The middle one just changed to seatbelt save lives. So yeah, it'll be a fun little addition, and just again something that when I'm doing live streams, it'll just be an added visual perk that the cameras will see. The question is, where do I put it? So I mean, tons of possibilities, obviously, but probably going to be somewhere in around here, I think. And it'll just be able to be picked up by this camera. And if it works out well, then maybe I'll build a couple more and see how that goes. Anyway, yeah, we were into what? How much time did we do today? An hour? Just about, yeah. Hour 35, hour 40. Sorry, that's wrong. An hour 10, I guess. And yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap up here, and we will do this all over again next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to anybody that decides they'd like to show up and watch my switching session. They don't take that long, usually. Could be anywhere from, if it's a real simple switch that the computer generates, could be anywhere from 20 minutes. It could be as long as an hour. And, I mean, if people show up, I don't even know, it said I had 2 visitors here, but I still only see Gwen's name on there. But, yeah, if I get more people on here, then maybe we could have just a discussion in general on model railroading and what your layout's like and all these other lovely things, projects you have set for the future. Anyway, on that note, I hope everybody stays safe this week. If you're in Southern Ontario and you're experiencing snow and you drive, please drive carefully. Consider other people out there. And take care. Happy model railroading. And we'll see you all next week at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Cheers. Take care, all. See ya.